Alright, so you guys liked my last video where I explained my most viral TikToks. We're doing a part 2, this time a back edition explaining my most viral back exercise TikTok videos. But first, let's get to working out. Let's go. Alright, so now that we finished our workout, let's get on to the first back video. Okay, so this one's a very simple thing. Essentially, when you're doing a seated row, you want to eliminate as much momentum as possible if you're trying to maximize hypertrophy for your back. It doesn't matter if you're trying to target your upper back, your lats, doesn't make a difference. When you're performing a seated row, if you're staying strict, you're able to keep tension on the target tissue as much as possible. Now this begs the question, okay, well, what if I want to target my upper back? I need to get back here, no? Because while it's true that in this position you're going to be targeting more of your mid traps and mid to upper back, instead of using momentum, all you have to do is actually stay in this lean back position, okay? Now that I'm in this lean back position, if I just do a strict row in this position, I'll be targeting that mid to upper back musculature without even having to swing with it, right? Notice how I'm pretty much going to be in the same position here, but I'm eliminating that momentum, meaning again, I'm able to keep tension on my actual back. In general, when you're talking about hypertrophy, using momentum is never really a good idea. Now, can you use a little bit momentum? Like if it naturally occurs, yes. I can imagine for everyone it's kind of hard to stay in this strict position as you increase the weight. But ultimately, you want to try to minimize it as much as you can. Hope that makes sense. On to the next video. All right, moving on to the next video. So for some reason, it seems that most people always neglect the eccentric part of a back exercise. And my rationale for why this happens is there's really no repercussion for neglecting the eccentric when you're doing back exercises, even those big compound movements. As opposed to something like a bench press with chest, where if you're not controlling the eccentric, you're dropping like a 100-pound bar on yourself, right? So by neglecting the eccentric, you're shooting yourself in the foot, because think of the eccentric as half of the movement. It is literally half of the movement. It's the lengthening portion of an exercise. So if you're not really being mindful of the eccentric, you're pretty much neglecting half of the movement. The eccentric portion has some advantages to it as well. So for one thing, you're always going to be stronger during the negative as opposed to the concentric. So that's one key factor. The second key thing is there's increased tension when you control the eccentric. So what I mean by actually controlling the eccentric is, let's take a row, right? Being mindful of the eccentric is pulling and then slowing the descent back down, right? If you're pulling and you're slowing, I like using a 3 to 4 second tempo. For one thing, the set is going to be so much harder, so you don't need as much weight to actually get the same stimulus. But secondly, it kind of acts as like a form check. Like, if your form is off, it's going to be very apparent and noticeable when you're controlling the eccentric. So that's all you have to do. Literally do this. So I'm demonstrating this on a row, but literally do this for every single back exercise you do. When you pull, don't forget about slowing the descent back to the resting position, okay? On to the last video. All right, on to the last video. Okay, another thing I hear all the time is, Tyler, I feel it more in my biceps than my actual back when I'm doing any sort of back exercise. For this example, I'm gonna use lat pull down, but ultimately the main factor that dictates whether you're gonna feel it in your arms or not is your arm path. However, a really good mental cue I like to use is taking a thumbless grip on the bar, okay? So here's a regular grip. A thumbless grip would be simply wrapping your thumb around the top, okay? Now, from here, I like to envision my arms as hooks, okay? Meaning I'm not really pulling from my arms at all. More, I'm pulling from the elbows. I don't care what my arms do. And this is a great mental cue that pretty much just helps me focus more on my back as opposed to like focus on gripping the bar or something else, okay? So to demonstrate, instead of pulling with thumbs here, where, you know, if I really think about squeezing with my arms, some of this can happen where in this position, you're probably gonna feel it a lot more in your forearms and biceps than your actual back. However, if I take a thumbless grip, and okay, I don't really care what my hands or arms do, I'm just gonna pull from my elbows and focus on squeezing the back, you end up naturally having a better arm position. At least for me and a lot of others, I've experienced this, but I think this is a really good mental cue that just kind of solidifies things. In actuality, if you really want to focus on your arm path, like I would say just don't let your wrist be narrower than your elbow, okay? So if you're pulling with a narrower wrist than elbow, and you're down here, then you're gonna feel it more in your biceps and arms. If you keep your wrists wider than your elbows, then you're gonna feel a lot more in your back. So that's like another tip within the tip, but if you don't even want to think about that, try the thumbless grip out. I think it's gonna be a really good help, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's the video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment what else you want to see. If you want me to keep making these explanatory videos, don't forget I post every Tuesday and Friday now. So hit subscribe if you want to see more of this, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.